What's going on, Brian?
Not much. How you doing today, Chad?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
Here covering the June 16th Alderman meeting from the other night.
That's right.
You were there for part of the meeting and not part of the meeting, so you had kind of a fun night, but we won't get into all that. We'll start off. I was just going to bring up a couple things.
Well, hold on. You got it. This is the Roundabout Roundup.
My bad.
With Brian Couch and Chad Wicker. We're hosting. This is, I think, our 7th episode. Is that correct?
You've lost me. I don't know.
7 or 8 episode, and what we do is recap the Hernando Board of Aldermen meeting and go over, kind of in a 30-minute time span what happened at the meeting, and that way you don't have to sit and watch the meeting on YouTube. And so far, having fun doing it. So
yeah,
we keep doing it, getting pretty good feedback. I know I've had people reach out and say they listen, so we appreciate that. And the whole idea is to keep it transparent and keep people engaged in what's going on in the city of Hernando.
Yeah, well, and I did get a question sent in this week, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a minute.
I forgot what you're supposed to like, listen, and share on whatever platform you listen to. That's how we get more.
Please give us some shares. We're not charging for this. We're not trying to make any advertising money. We're just trying to keep the public informed on what's going on in Hernando. And of course, I'm sure people have seen it on Facebook by now. I think every one of y'all has shared it, including the mayor, about getting the initial $5.7 million for the engineering project at 55 in Commerce to do the engineering work, right?
Yeah, we can get into that. So the mayor announced. I guess I was in Georgia at a jail inspection, but was that last Monday? I think, Brian, about a week ago.
Yeah. That
he had received some information from MDOT Executive Director Brad White and John Caldwell, the Northern District Transportation Commissioner, that they had located, I think, $5.7 million to help start the project at I-55 and Commerce Street. The engineering, that's going to be just about enough to cover the engineering of that project. That's about 100 and last time I saw a true estimate was 126 million. I think that's probably around 140 million now with an increased building price or construction price. But the engineering part, this should cover that, and then the next, we're going to need about another 15 million to cover the right-of-ways for that project. So this is the first step in many. Glad it happened. I did see a report on, I think, Action News 5, Channel 5, or whatever. This was. You're going to see dirt moving in a couple of months or whatever, and that is not true. We're still years away from any kind of construction.
Yeah, probably another 25 years at this point. Yeah. So, but I'd like to think.
Come on, man. Hold on a second. Where's my little board at? So.
Well, I'd like to think we got that money because of us talking about it every episode of this podcast. That's why I wanted to start with it. Is that came out after we've kind of griped about it the last couple episodes. So.
And I want to say this too, and again, I try to stay positive, but I've seen some things on social media where so-and-so is taking credit for this or so-and-so is taking credit for that. Who cares who takes credit for it?
Exactly.
We just need to get the project done. If the mayor was able to get this or secure that, that's great. If whoever needs to do that, we still need $135 million.
Yeah.
So let's keep fighting. This is the first step. So I think most citizens don't care if it's the Chip Johnson intersection or the whoever Chad Wicker intersection or the Brian Couch intersection. They just want it completed. So
yeah,
let's just get it done. I think we're a lot better when we work together on a project instead of somebody fighting to take credit for this or that. That's silliness.
Well, and then we'll move on from there. I will ask the question that was emailed in to me, but it had nothing to do with this meeting, so I'll put it at the beginning. Somebody emailed me and said, can you get an update on where we are with the independent audit?
Yeah, of the utility fund?
Yes.
So when we approved to do that, there was going to be a couple phases. I think they've completed the first phase, and they're into the second phase of kind of they interviewed people. They got some records from the city. Now they're looking at kind of the processes and see how they did things.
Along.
Yeah, and so.
Well, nobody had heard about it for a while, and somebody said, we hadn't heard about this in a while. Can you try to get an update from Chad about it?
Yeah, that's exactly. So that's kind of where we're at. I have a direct contact there, and I reach out to that guy about once every couple of weeks, and he, I know they set up interviews with some city employees and talk to them, and so we'll hopefully have something here in the next 90 days or so, I'm thinking.
Okay, well, good to know.
something on that, and also what's the other there was a demand letter sent to a couple of city employees. I think one former city employee, and then our court clerk. I have not heard anything else on that at all. So.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we'll kick right into the meeting. Meeting started with the prayer and all that, and before anything could really get started, Alderman Piper wanted to add another new addition to the agenda. Second meeting in a row he's done that, and it was about getting updates on paving going on in the city of where we were. And I don't know why that was added. Maybe you can speak more on that as to,
Sure. So, we just did a large paving project. About $2 million worth of paving has been done. Most residents probably see that around town. And I think Alderman Piper was trying to get some information about doing some fall paving and going into selecting roads for across the city. And just for clarification, so what we do, what we've done pretty much since I've been on the board, is we get a use tax. It's called the Mississippi Modernization Act. It was passed several years ago. It's when they started charging sales tax on online orders. So when Brian, when your wife buys something from Amazon, like my wife does, prior to I think 2019 or 2020, they did not charge sales tax.
Correct.
They started charging sales tax. The city gets a little bit of that comes back to us, and that goes into what they call the Modernization Act. It's a great idea because that money has to be used for infrastructure projects.
Okay.
And so we've used that every year. And we get a check at about middle of July, and we get a check about the middle of January. In the last couple of years, it's been about $800,000 each time. I think it was $860,000 last time, so we're hoping maybe to get $900,000 this year. And so that money goes into paving, and so we built that up for a while there, and we had about $3 million in that account, and we spent, like I said, about $2 million. We do have, as part of the Renaissance Park project, the mayor indicated that we are going to have to spend about $700,000 to do a road there to get to the ravine. Brian, you probably remember back behind the skate park there, or the roller skating rink, there's a big ditch basically, and to cross that ditch is the only way to cut through that whole road. And so this money gets us to that ravine, and we'll have to get additional funds to get over that ditch.
Okay.
So there's not going to be a way from Highway 51 to Robinson Gin right now. It's going to stop at the ditch. Gotcha. Then you have the baseball field. So you have to get to the new baseball field. You have to come in off Highway 51.
Okay.
But there's going to be a road extended there past the dog park, and that's where there's going to be $700,000. And I think the mayor indicated he wants to use modernization money to do that, which is going to reduce how much we have to pave in the fall. And so I think that's why Alderman Piper added that, because he wanted to get that clarified. And then we also, a caveat to that is last year we signed an agreement with Civil Link, and they kind of identify our roads. They give them each one of them a grade 1 through 5, and then they select a list for us to be paved. And so they're going to give us some recommendations to spend. Instead of having $2 million this fall, we may only have $400,000 or something. So you're not going to see the huge amount that you saw this year.
We've gotten some good ones, and we need Robinson and Mount Pleasant. They're basically done except for striping Robinson.
Yes,
so.
I think Joe Frank had indicated they were going to be out paving or striping Wednesday and Thursday. So
okay,
but with the weather, that's all dependent on weather and stuff. So.
Well, we'll move on, and I want to hit some of these things as fast as we can, because we do have something that was really cool at the meeting that took up a good part of the meeting. Not saying I'm for it or against it, way too early to comment either way on whether I'm for it or against it, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So y'all hang with us till the end of the meeting, because we're going to spend the majority of the meeting discussing some of that stuff.
That, my friends, is called a teaser.
Yes,
in the
that
radio
is a teaser. So then we had applied for the Delta Infrastructure Grant, and it did have but that was just us voting to apply for it, so not much to really talk about there. I know there's a match with that, a partial match, but y'all did vote to go ahead and apply for that Delta Regional Infrastructure
I'll
grant.
speak to that. So there's a grant out there. This is trying to get water across I-269 there to help with that area with the development. So that's what that's for.
That's all that is. Okay. And then we had the rezoning of the 3 acres on Star Landing Road at 51 from AR to C2. And do you have any clue what they're trying to do there with that property?
The applicant who spoke said that they were just going to rezone it. I mean, you're the real estate guy. I would probably think that land's probably worth more zoned as a commercial than as agricultural. This is the corner of Star Landing Road and Highway 51.
Right, and you got a Dollar General there, you got a gas station there. I mean, you got a lot of stuff in that area.
And so, and I think, I don't know, somebody, maybe you asked us, why do we not do a C4 zoning there? C4 zoning is kind of like a PUD for the residential area. You got to have a plan in place. You got to have all these things. I think I think, Brian, I think they're just going to flip this and sell it.
Well, the reason I was the one that asked about
Yeah.
the C4 versus C2 because when I was getting my grandmother's property rezoned, I was told we would never zone anything C2 again in Hernando.
Well,
and so we had to go C4 with it.
And we've talked about this on this podcast. You know, one thing that the ordinance committee did was make some changes to the C2 zoning and remove some uses, require a conditional use. So, like if they were, since it's a C2 now, I think it takes effect after 10 days or whatever. If they say they want to put a convenience store there with gas pumps, they're going to have to come back and get a conditional use.
Yeah, and Austin did mention that.
Yeah.
He said that, the new C2 zonings go into effect at the end of this month and that they're not, there's no grandfather clause. So people that have a business are going to have to come back and...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because Andrew Miller asked Austin to notify, if I remember, if I heard correctly, he asked Austin to notify all the C2 customers we currently have so they are aware that they have no grandfather clause going forward.
Well, let me clarify. So they have, if they have a business now that's in C2 zoning, those people are okay. This is going to be something that's not developed
For like a
or
strip
changes.
center. A strip center,
Yes.
if a business moves out, he
Right.
might not necessarily be able to move that same kind of business back in there.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, for example, you know where Kilgore's antique place is? He's got the little gas station. Used to be a gas station there. There was some rumor that the family was thinking about turning that back into a gas station. Because it's been vacant for so long, they will have to come get a conditional use for gas
Gotcha.
pumps there.
Okay. That makes more sense now. Thanks for the clarification, because I was wondering about that. So, then the next thing we had was, and I do want you to tell me, the rezoning of the lot from back in 1913 that is a non-conforming but legal lot just south of the square on 51, if I'm thinking right.
This is kind of over like where Dr. Patberg's,
Yeah, okay.
in that area of the city there. I'm trying to think exactly what.
It's a .111 lot or something?
It's small. So when the city was initially developed in 1836 or whenever this city plan, this probably was a little after that, but there were square lots. The original city, you can kind of tell the original city by the size of the homes.
I've seen some of the
Actually, I wish I would have brought it with me. I had a really good picture of
the house.
the lots and how they're broken down from 1911 or whatever it was.
Well, I was curious how he was going to get a house on that lot, but he did present y'all with a
Yeah,
plan.
it's like a mother-in-law.
Okay, and y'all did approve that 7-0.
And so years ago, before we had planning guidelines and stuff, whoever owned the property at that time had the lot platted with this non-conforming piece of property, and it would not work today. He could not do this today, but he's, like you said earlier, grandfathered in. So essentially, it's all we were doing was
allowing him to build on a
approving
property that used to be approvable, because Austin even said it is a legal non-conforming lot.
right.
He said that multiple times during the meeting. So
he's going to have a little mother-in-law house or whatever there.
but he still has to meet the design standards.
Oh yeah, and he submitted an design. I think the planning commission was pleased with it. It looked okay in the packet.
Yeah, I wish y'all had been able to put a graph of that
Yeah,
up on
and that's something we, just while I'm thinking about it, I wish we would put I think South Haven does this. They put their little packet that we get online, so you can see some of those things. Maybe go through it
Right.
as you're going through the meeting if people are that interested. But yeah, so that was kind of a weird one. That's that's when you have an older city, sometimes you run into those things.
Okay. Well, and then the main thing of the meeting that took up the majority of the meeting, and you ended up having to leave in the middle of this, and y'all did have the presentation of this on the screen, so we could not see the alderman, and you were there.
Like a ghost.
Yeah, you were there, and then at the end of the presentation, when they took the thing down, Chad was no longer at the meeting. So I don't know if you've gotten to go back and watch see the rest of what was said.
I think everybody knows I work for the Tate County Sheriff's Office, and there was an officer-involved shooting at the Walmart last Sunday. And during the middle of the meeting, there was a
Protest.
There was a protest going on, and I think it got out of control, and so I had to leave to help my fellow colleagues down in Tate County deal with that. So that's where I was. But
because when I was watching and they went back to the view of the alderman and you weren't there. I was like, oh,
He's like
things
a
must
ghost.
be. I was like, things must be getting bad. No, my initial reaction was, oh, things must be getting bad down in Tate County.
Yeah.
So
Well, I wouldn't say bad, but it's just need to pray for that community. There's a lot going on. So
absolutely. But let's talk about this. This was the Walmart Wing Delivery Program.
first in Mississippi, baby.
Would be the first drone delivery program in the state of Mississippi if we decided to move along with that. So, and I'm assuming we're at the preliminary stages of that, but the representative, I'm assuming for Walmart or who, the drone company, was there and gave a long presentation, which was extremely interesting. I highly recommend anybody listen to this to go back and watch it. It is about 35 minutes of the meeting, I think, but very interesting stuff. And of course, like you just said, if we did this, we would be the first in Mississippi to get it. And that would make, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. I don't know enough information yet, just off that one presentation, but this would make the residents of Madison, Mississippi head spin that Hernando, Mississippi got something before they did. So from that aspect, I'm all for it.
So I don't know the rationale why we were chosen to be the first Walmart. I think she indicated when I was still at the meeting there that there was some demographic information, some shopping information they reviewed, and we kind of hit every box. But essentially, you'll be able to order something, Brian, from your house on an app from Walmart, and it'd be delivered to your house. Is that pretty much it, right? I mean, that's the nutshell of it.
And of course, they had two different type of drones. The drone we would be using here in Hernando will only carry 2.6 pounds. And the way it looked, if you look at the presentation, it's a drone, and she said it's made of low impact material, and that got me cracked up. I was like, man, I can't wait for one of these low impact drones to hit me in the head. That's my retirement plan one day. So
well, some of these, I was thinking some of these, redneck guys out there shooting them with a rifle or shotgun.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't think of that. But well, while this was going on, Stacy happened to walk through the room while I was watching the meeting. I was like, look at this.
Which is your wife?
Correct. My wife, Stacy Couch. She walked through the room, and I was like, Stacy, look at this. She's like, what is it? I told her, and then she ended up leaving the room while I was still watching. And this went on long enough that she ended up coming back in later, and I'll get to what she said later. But they did say it was low impact material, and that's all I could think about is like how that was going to, And the other thing I thought about was, are we going to be riding around Hernando and see 45 drones in the sky? Because they said they fly at about an average of 100 to 150 feet.
That's right, yeah.
So to stay out of the FAA required area. So
well, this like if you have someone who, I know you have an older mother who wants to order a medication, right? Instead of having you run to the Walmart and get it or whatever, you can order it and have it delivered through an autonomous drone. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I thought about is it does hold 2.6 pounds, so you could easily get a tall boy 24-ounce Miller Lite delivered. And once you get that one, go ahead and order the next one. It's like a bartender. Your drone keeps showing back up with a beer.
She said it was going to be free for a while.
Yeah, so. They did say that the service would be free in Hernando starting out because they're launching this stuff. And, she said eventually there will be a fee to it. But at first you could get your free beer delivered one at a time.
Well, it was neat to me to this is an Alphabet business. So Alphabet is the parent company of Google, I believe, right? Is that right? And so this is a company that started out as part of Google, and then I guess they partnered with Walmart, and they're kind of a standalone now sister company, like Google or whatever. So, man, it's cool. If you didn't see the video's online. Basically, it's like a drone we used to see, the quad drone with
it's bigger than a drone that me and you would fly.
Yeah, it's like, but it's got the 4 propellers or whatever. I think one of them actually has more than that, but it looks like the X shape, and then it's got basically a bag. It hangs down off of it.
And it looks like that bag hangs down fairly good piece.
Well, I think it sucks it back up, and when it's flying, then drops it. That's how it drops it down. And it just drops it, I guess, in your front yard. The demonstration I saw was like in your driveway or front yard, and you go out there and pick it up. So.
Well, and, she made the comment that the end user, the customer, the consumer, is responsible when they order theirs, that they have to click a button because they'll have a drone landing spot. You pick but it's a set spot at your house that you set up, and that you're going to click a button saying that spot is clear. I was like, well, how many times are people going to mess that up and say there's not a car there, and then a car parks there before the drone gets there? So she did say that. Now, she did crack a joke at one point. I don't know if you were still there, but she's like, with this, it's not like Uber or DoorDash. You don't have to tip your drone. I don't know if you were still there for that. But
no,
that did
I missed
crack me up
that
a little
part.
bit.
But Yeah, it's this technology's heading this way. I mean, you got college age kids, but I know like at Ole Miss they have the little drones that deliver food to the dorms and stuff like that. So
Yeah. Well, and being first can be awesome,
yeah,
but you could also be the one that go, hey, remember when Hernando, Mississippi did that and it didn't go well? If we got 40 drones flying around the city, people are like, man, look at this. We're like, okay, so this is where Stacy walks back in the room.
yeah, okay,
She has a drawing up of neighborhoods, like the drones over the neighborhoods, talking about impact on neighborhoods of hearing drones flying and all that. And Stacy happens to walk in right as she's talking about that and looks up at the TV and she starts singing the Jetsons theme song. Like,
yeah, this is right out of the Jetsons.
Here
man.
comes George Jetson.
Which I know I've heard rumors about this for years that they were going to start doing, Amazon or Walmart was going to start doing drone deliveries, and so it's neat to be one of the first ones in Mississippi to have it doing that and having it being around. I'm certainly going to try it when it starts.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You got to try it if we have it. That's assuming we decide to approve this project, right? Or do we even have a say so?
I don't think, as far as the city of Hernando is concerned, I don't think there is a approval process. I think we don't control the airspace. So.
Right, and it's below FAA level, so they so if they want to do it, they can do it. I think she was just being courteous and saying, "Hey, we're looking at doing
it
this."
probably was smart to come get attention. We're talking about it. I'm sure some of the other people are talking about it who watched the meeting. It's cool. I mean, it's cool. It's something cool. I like technology. I like using it, so I'm sure a lot of people are.
Absolutely.
I wish it carried more weight. There was more stuff you can do, and I'm sure eventually they will be.
Yeah, I would think 5 years from now you probably can get 15 pounds.
Yeah.
I had a group text of people that I know watched the meeting, and we were texting back and forth because it's one of the more interesting things we've had at a meeting in a long time. And it's not a negative; can be a positive. We don't know yet, but it's something neat that we would be the first in Mississippi to have it.
Sure.
So, because the next thing the next thing after that was that took up a large part of the meeting.
Yeah. She talked for about 30 minutes, I think.
Well, after that was I think it was the Public Works Department wanting to restructure some stuff.
Yeah.
And the meeting went from super interesting
super boring
to about as boring as the meeting could be. And I even had one person text me, they were like, can we get past this and go back to talking about the drone delivery stuff?
So our public, we just hired, Stephen has been with us, I guess, about 60 days. He started the 1st of May, I think, if that's right. And when he started, he gave us kind of a 90-day plan. The first thing he was going to do was look at the, restructuring the department if he thought it was needed. So that's basically what he did. And his plan basically is he's going to take the 4 or 5 different divisions inside Public Works and give them a direct supervisor instead of having all those people report to the deputy director or him, or the assistant director or him. So just kind of a more structured command,
And did we approve that or not?
We did, and so basically he had some positions that had been filled in some time. He had a part-time position he said has been vacant all year, and so he took some of those positions out, and he's giving each little supervisor or lead person a slight increase in pay to kind of associate with also being a supervisor now.
Okay, so somebody's going to get more money, but they'll have more responsibility.
Yeah, and I don't have it in front of me, but there's basically 4 or 5 different divisions within Public Works, and so like the bill collecting division, the sewer division, the trash collection division, the stormwater division, or whatever. And so instead of having all those people, 5 people in that little division reporting to Courtney, our assistant director, they'll have a boss, and that boss would then direct to Courtney.
And he was saying it would save us money.
Yeah, because he cut some positions out and gave them some of the people additional raise, but the raise was not as much as what he's cutting out. So I think the mayor indicates like a $7,000 reduction in the total payroll budget,
which is not a lot, but hey, every dime we save helps, and we haven't been saving a lot of money lately. We've been spending money, so. It was hard to pay attention at that part because we had just talked about the drone stuff that was so interesting, and that kind of stuff is really boring to listen to.
Yeah, that's the boring part about local government, but important. Like you said, that saved us a little bit of money. So
and that's a good thing that your new guys trying to figure out ways to cost cut and save money.
Yeah, he's done a great job. He's been very good to communicate with. I've had a couple constituents reach out to me about the specific issues. I've texted him and Courtney, and man, they address it. Really, I had one guy actually lives over there across on Paris Cove, across from where Taylor Phillips lives, right across the street there. He had a pothole right in front of his driveway, and I text Courtney and Steven, about 2 o'clock that afternoon, hey, this guy's, can you take a look at it? They had it fixed that afternoon. You can't beat that, man. That's
Right.
pretty strong. So,
Well, and then we had another public works thing I'll talk about that there was, on Facebook about when we had that torrential downpour and some flooding over on a street. I think in your ward, right?
yeah, you talking about Sandpiper.
Yeah. Well, and so I went over there the next time because this past
Yeah.
week we had another
I was over there too.
torrential downpour, and I rode over there. But when I rode over there, there was a public works truck sitting there watching that drain.
Yeah.
So I was like, "That's okay. That's impressive. They're at least on top of, hey, we've got an issue that we may need to address over here."
Which I'll say her name. I went to high school with her. Jamie Payne lives in the house there, and I guess it's been about a month ago. We had a pretty good rain, and her drain was backed up, and somehow or another she drove through the middle of it, and I think messed her car up, and she made a post on social media. I did reach out with her. I've communicated with her several times, and the city engineer recommended maybe increasing the, I guess you would call it the throat or the mouth of that storm drain, and also raising it up about 3 inches to take in more water. And so we made that change, and actually I talked to Jamie that night you were over there, and she said that it was draining well. So it's taken
Well,
care
I just
of.
went by there. I was leaving the office, and it was a massive downpour, and I was like, you know what? On the way to my house, I'm gonna drive over there and just take a look. And I was impressed that the public works truck was sitting there watching.
You sell the house
drain.
yet?
No, not yet, because Jamie's over there griping about the street. Yeah, I got several texts. That's how I knew about it, because I have a sign in her post, So but
That
anyway.
is a really nice neighborhood, though. I know several people live in that
Yeah.
cove on both sides, and that's a really nice area right there in the middle of town.
Well, and luckily the house I have for sale is up on a hill, so it doesn't.
on
It's
high
not
wa-
really.
it's
It's
on
not
high
really
land.
affected by the drain there.
It's
so.
on highland.
Yeah, so nothing to disclose when we sell that house, anything like that. So, but no, that was basically it for the meeting. Now, I will tell you, I would love to hear, people send me text or emails what they think about this drone thing. I mean, like,
Yeah.
especially if you go back and watch it, or if you just listen to us and you have an opinion on it. At the moment, I can see a positive and a negative. So
So
I don't have an
got a
opinion.
question. How quick do you think Kroger copies them?
But I don't know that Kroger's doing that anywhere. Now, like Amazon is doing that in some parts of
Well,
the
you think
country.
they'll partner with like Amazon or something?
They may. I mean, it would
Because those two,
definitely.
like we've talked about, those two are our biggest sales. Those guys generate the biggest revenue for Hernando, and they're kind of, you buy your groceries at Walmart or Kroger. That's where you get your groceries pretty much in Hernando.
Well, but right now, this project, you really can't buy your groceries.
Yeah, that's
you can
true,
get your
that's true,
you can
but-
get your meds.
Which Kroger doesn't. They have a pretty good pharmacy, so
You're out at the pool and you forgot your sunscreen. Hey,
Yeah.
let me get a drone, drop some
Yeah.
sunscreen off over here at the pool.
2 beers, like you said.
Yeah, or one tall boy. So, but I am interested. I'd love to hear it. You can email me at brian.couch22@gmail, and we may at the next, depending on how much information we have from the next board meeting, we may, cover some of the opinions of the flying drones around Hernando. Look like I said, the Jetsons in Hernando. When people drive by, there'll be drones everywhere.
Sure.
So, I mean, if that's all you got, I don't.
Well,
have
I got a
anything
question
else
for
today.
you.
Okay.
Get us some free
Okay.
advice here.
All right.
How's the real estate market right now, you think?
It's hit or miss. It depends on where you are in the price point. Rates today were conventional were 6.5, and FHA was 6 even. So they're up a little bit from where they were. Some weeks we're really busy, other weeks it's a little slow. But for this time of year, it's probably a little bit below average. But we are moving inventory, so it's not terrible. Why, you think about selling?
No, I'm not selling. I'm thinking about buying, baby.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is it a buyer's market or seller's market?
It depends
Depends on
on
your
your
price point
location,
stuff.
and it depends on your price point and your location. The under 400 market's still really strong.
Okay.
400 and above is kind of more of a buyer's market.
That's right. Okay. Well, Brian, if that's all you got, that's all I have.
We'll see you next time on Around the Roundabout.